Robert Evjene is suing his ex-fiancée, Kimberly Fonger, for a false arrest and for the return of his property and his dog.
Order. All rise.
Yes, case number 604 on the calendar in the matter of Evjene versus Fonger. Parties have been sworn in, Judge.
How do you pronounce your last name?
Fonger.
Fonger.
And Mr. Evjene.
Correct.
How old are you, sir?
50.
Other than this arrest that you had on this charge of domestic violence, have you ever been arrested?
No.
So this arrest for domestic violence was your first arrest?
For domestic violence, yes.
I'm talking about for anything.
For anything. In 2001, wet reckless.
2001 what?
Wet reckless?
What does that mean?
That is a DUI that was reduced to a wet reckless.
So in 2001, you had one arrest for DUI?
Correct.
Other than that?
That's it.
And how long had you and Miss Fonger been a couple?
We met in April of '06 at rehab.
Nature of your addiction was alcohol?
Alcohol, correct.
And yours?
It was pills.
Your complaint alleges that you were arrested for domestic violence. The incident occurred because Miss Fonger actually assaulted you while you were driving in the car. It is your claim that ultimately the charges against you were dropped.
Correct.
For lack of evidence. The criminal charges. You allege that Miss Fonger filed for a restraining order. She never showed up. That case was dismissed.
Correct.
Then she filed for another restraining order, and she conned you into not going to court
Correct.
on that one. Told you she was going to drop those charges, so you didn't go to court.
Along with a little loving, yes.
Yeah.
That's correct.
And then she did go to court and did, in fact, get a protective order.
Correct.
And you want her to compensate you to the tune of $5,000. Ms. Fonger says that you did, in fact, assault her. She's got a counterclaim for her medical bills and punitive damages for the assault. So, I want you to tell me exactly your version of the events, Ms. Fonger, of what happened on the 9th of January, because you also have a claim for certain property that you claim she took while the 2 days that you were in jail before the charges were dropped, and a dog that you claim she took that belonged to you. Okay. Go.
Okay. On January 9th, we were on... Sorry, I'm nervous. We went to Pollock Casino, and we meet at people. And that night, he decided not to go to the concert. So he pulled me out, and we went to Temecula Valley.
You said you had been to the concert at the casino.
Halfway.
But you went to the concert.
Right, but only halfway.
Okay. And then he wanted to leave. You were driving the car back, and?
Mm-hmm. And he was drunk.
Yes.
And he was on drugs.
And?
And then I was yelling and screaming.
And what about you?
I had 4 drinks.
And what about pills?
Nope.
Just alcohol?
Yeah, correct.
I have proof she had pills that night.
What kind of proof do you have?
A week before that, she got 120 somas by forging my doctor's signature.
But how can you prove that she had pills in her system that night?
Her actions, her behavior, it just goes from what she's...
That's not proof. Go ahead.
When we got to, actually, between Pollock Casino and Temecula Valley, he hit my head against the wall, or against the window. I was unconscious. And then he kept hitting me. He restrained me. And then the next thing I know was the police were there.
Okay. Go ahead.
Back from the concert, she didn't want to go. She wanted to stay. And with this new friend she had met, party with them, and we were arguing. And then I'm driving, and she attacks me. I have pictures of my face being scratched. And
you wanted to leave the concert early?
I don't think so. No, we left early, but I didn't want to leave early. No.
Do you remember why?
I think it's because the couple that she'd met started making inappropriate remarks towards, like, maybe you guys could sleep in our room tonight and things like that. And I didn't want to stick around.
When had you been drinking that day?
Pretty much from noon until the concert, you know.
And when had the defendant been drinking that day?
Along with me all day long, yeah.
So you were drinking home and you were driving while you were drinking?
No, I wasn't driving while I was
Not while you were drinking, but you had been drinking all day and you got behind the wheel of the car.
That is correct.
So what happened in the car, if you remember?
Oh, I remember. Very nice. She attacked me. I pulled over because it almost
Tell me how
wrecked.
she attacked you.
She came across my face and scratched me. And I.
Well, what were you arguing about that caused that?
Just that she wanted to stay and I didn't. And she was being just the normal self that she always is when she takes her pills. And I didn't want to, have to take care, because she can't walk or talk after a certain amount of them, and I have to take care of her, and I didn't want to do that anymore. So I pull over into a parking lot and try to calm her down. She's running around the parking lot screaming, out of control. I can't calm her down. People call the cops. They come and they arrest me, and then they get.
Do you have a police report?
She did.
I'd like to
never
see the
got
police
one.
report.
I never did get a police report.
I'd like to see the police report, and I would also like to see the pictures.
Here's the proof of the pills, too. She just got 120 more of them 2 weeks ago. That's probably why she can't stand up.
No.
You want pills now, Ms. Fonger?
No, I haven't been.
You willing to take a drug test?
I'm willing to.
Hair follicle test?
Sure.
We'll arrange for that.
Mr. Evjene has been taking drugs.
I'm just asking you, are you prepared to take a hair follicle test?
Yes.
Today?
Yes.
And you will either be exonerated or humiliated. Don't waste my time. Don't waste his time. If you've taken any drugs, it's going to show up in your hair follicle. Do you get it?
Yes.
Okay? And you would agree that if you lied to me about using drugs now, so you don't have any pills in your system, that I would have serious reservations about everything else that you told me. Do you understand
Correct.
that?
You can test Mr. Evjene, too.
I'm just asking you.
Okay.
His behavior is not bizarre. Yours is.
I'm very nervous.
That's not nerves. That's more than nerves.
Amen.
Been in the business a long time.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Robert Evjene says his ex-fiancée, Kimberly Fonger, owes for a false arrest and for the return of his property and his dog. Kimberly is countersuing for medical bills from an assault.
Well, so according to the police, you were both drunk as skunks that day. Both of you. According to the police, you both had visible signs of injury. You had a bloody lip, and he had bloody scratches on his face. They decided to arrest him, right?
Correct.
You deserve to be arrested. You were driving drunk.
Mm-hmm.
You had a fight with her. So your statement that her behavior caused you to be arrested, that's not true. She may have contributed to it, but your own behavior caused you to be arrested.
Her behavior was the one
Your
that...
own behavior caused you to be arrested, sir. If you were not drunk, you wouldn't have been put in that situation.
If she had not called attention to everybody and had the cops call...
You're ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. That's what happens when you drink and drive.
I understand that, but I could have
That's what happens when you drink and drive.
Could have sat in my truck all night and no one would know I've been drunk, unless someone called them. And she's the one that had
Or
them.
unless you hit somebody who was traveling with their 4 children in a car.
That's another story.
That's another story.
Yeah.
I have zero
Tolerance.
sympathy for you.
I understand that.
Zero sympathy for you. I have less sympathy for you. But right now, I'm telling you right now, my inclination is to let you, if you're sober now, terrific, but to let you two drunks who were drunk on January 9th go your own way, and whatever happened to you that day, that's it. He was injured, you were injured, he got to spend some time in jail, had to bail himself out, lost a dog, lost some property, which, by the way, you have his property?
No, it's mine.
What property did she take?
The dog, the TV, the VCR, the bed.
How long had you been living together?
3 years.
I'm not bothering with it. That's your problem.
The dog, though, is like a kid. You can't take a kid from you. It's like taking a kid from you. How do you do that?
You've been living together for 3 years, is that right?
I paid for everything. It's my dog.
How long have you had the dog?
2.5 years.
Good. Can I see the medical records, please?
Yes. As well, this is the AKC, and it's
This is
wrong.
the medical records.
Yes.
That's what she had.
Thank
And
you.
Your Honor, I have a tape that says the dog's mine.
I don't care what you have. I just told him he's not getting the dog back. This is not the hospital record, madam. This is not a medical record. This tells you what to do in case you have serious vomiting or worsening or a headache or whatever. I'm not interested in that.
That's from the hospital.
Well, it's not enough for me. Will you pass this back to her, please? He had a swollen lip, he had a scratched face. Sounds to me as if you two people who were intoxicated in a car got exactly what you both deserved. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It was just waiting to happen. It was one of those relationships that, you meet in rehab, and they tell you not to date, and they're right. You don't do it.
Don't meet a man in rehab.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Frith versus Austin, step forward.
19-year-old Kimberly.
The October rain still sounds exactly like the night my father said, "Get out." It doesn't matter how many years pass or how far I put between myself and that house. Some sounds don't fade. They wait. They settle deep in the body, dormant, until something familiar pulls the pin and lets memory detonate all over again. Tonight, it's raining in Denver. Not the soft, apologetic drizzle people here call a storm. This is a violent, unforgiving downpour. Rain slams against the glass walls of my 28th floor apartment like it's trying to break in. Like it has unfinished business with me. I press my noise-canceling headphones tighter against my ears. They don't help. The rhythm is wrong. Too aggressive. Too deliberate. It's the same rain. The same sound that followed me down State Route 913 years ago, soaking my hair, my clothes, my skin, washing me clean of childhood, and leaving something colder behind. I am 28 years old now. I have a 401k, a respected title in risk and compliance, a reputation at work for being precise, controlled, emotionally unreachable. People describe me as ice. They say it like it's an insult. They're wrong. Ice survives pressure. My apartment is proof of that survival. Every object exists where it belongs. My books are aligned by height and color gradient. My coffee beans are ground to a specific coarseness every morning, 22 seconds, no more, no less. I chose Denver because it sits 1,600 meters above sea level, far removed from the damp, suffocating humidity of Briar Glen, Pennsylvania. Distance is a form of control, and control is how I stay alive. But tonight, control is slipping. The rain carries a smell with it, wet asphalt and decaying leaves, that overwhelms the clean artificial vanilla of my soy candle. My chest tightens. My breath turns shallow. I am no longer a woman in a high-rise apartment. I am 15 years old again, standing barefoot on a porch, staring at a door that has already locked me out of my own life. To understand why I am driving a rental car back toward a town that once spit me out, you have to understand the architecture of the house I grew up in. Not the physical structure, the split level on Elm Street with beige siding and a maple tree out front. I mean the emotional load-bearing walls. The ones that cracked long before I ever realized the roof was coming down. I was 10 years old when my mother died. An aneurysm. A word that sounds almost elegant until it detonates inside a family. One moment she was standing in the kitchen, reminding me to finish my math homework. The next, she was gone, erased by a lightning strike inside her own skull. My mother had been the axis our house rotated around. She was an accountant by trade and temperament. Meticulous. Forward-thinking. Paranoid in the way people get when they understand how fragile systems really are. She planned for contingencies. For college. For emergencies. For futures she would never get to see. When her casket lowered into the ground, something fundamental collapsed with it. My father, Gavin Whitaker, did not abandon us in any way that would attract attention. He came home every evening at 5:30. He ate dinner. He paid the bills. He watched the news in his recliner like a man waiting for instructions that never came. But emotionally, he disappeared. Grief didn't make him volatile or cruel. That would have been easier to fight. Grief made him inert. He stopped making decisions. Stopped noticing details. Stopped asking questions. He existed in a fog where the loudest voice automatically became the truth. And into that vacuum stepped my sister. Renee was 14 when our mother died. In Briar Glen, she became a local saint overnight. Neighbors whispered about how strong she was, how mature, how she had stepped up. And on the surface, they weren't wrong. She took over grocery shopping, laundry, scheduling. She learned how to cook dinners my father forgot to eat. What no one saw was the other things she ate. Blake Heron didn't arrive in our house like a guest. He arrived like a consultant. From the beginning, he watched more than he spoke. Sat back at the dinner table, elbows wide, eyes flicking between Renee and my father like he was mapping influence. When he did talk, it was in language that sounded impressive but meant nothing: scalability, projections, future growth. Words designed to impress people who didn't ask follow-up questions. My father never did. Renee, on the other hand, asked plenty, but not the kind meant to test ideas. Hers were questions of alignment. How fast could this grow? What kind of return are we talking about? What's the risk? She didn't love Blake. She partnered with him. And partnerships need resources. At first, the requests were harmless. Delilah, can you sign for this package? I'm on a call. Can I borrow your student ID? The office messed something up. Do you know where Mom kept the old paperwork? I was 15, trained to comply, conditioned to believe that refusal equaled hostility. Every no I'd ever tried to say had been rewritten as proof of my selfishness. So I said yes. I signed things I didn't read. I handed over documents I shouldn't have. I trusted because mistrust had been framed as a flaw. That was the first theft. Not the money. The consent. The next stage was rehearsal. I didn't know that's what it was then, but I do now. Small sums started disappearing.
$50.
100. Renee would find the money later, tucked into the wrong envelope. Blake would laugh it off. Accounting's messy at first, he'd say. That's just how startups work. When nothing happened, no questions, no consequences, they escalated. I noticed Blake watching me more closely after that. Not like a predator, like a risk analyst identifying an exposure point. He'd ask questions casually. What time are you at school on Tuesdays? You ever been to the PNC branch downtown? You still on your mom's insurance? I didn't connect the dots.
Because
People assume justice begins in a courtroom. They're wrong. Justice begins in silence, in observation, in learning how systems actually fail. I didn't go to the police after I found the empty accounts. I was 19, broke, and officially labeled unstable. Any complaint I made would have been filtered through that story first. Truth doesn't survive first contact with bias. So I did the only thing available to me. I studied. At night, after working double shifts at a diner, I watched online lectures on forensic accounting. I learned how signatures are verified, how timestamps lie, how banks prioritize procedure over morality. Fraud, I discovered, is rarely clever. It's lazy. It relies on people assuming patterns instead of checking exceptions. And my family had relied on one assumption above all else: that I would never come back with language sharp enough to challenge theirs. The first crack appeared in a document I almost ignored: a custodial transfer form. My mother had structured the accounts with a delayed release clause. Funds could only be moved with either joint authorization or under specific emergency provisions requiring notarized justification. The forms withdrawing my money were marked emergency educational expense. The justification paragraph was typed, but the notary stamp, it was issued in a county that hadn't licensed that notary until 6 months after the form was dated. It was a small error. The kind people miss when they're in a hurry. The kind that turns a suspicion into a map. I started requesting records. Slowly. Quietly. Always as myself. Never as an accuser. Banks are far more cooperative with polite curiosity than outrage. I learned which questions unlocked which departments. Could you help me understand this process? I'm trying to reconcile something for my personal records. There might be a clerical error. By the time I was 24, I had a digital archive that told a story my family never expected me to read.